everybody, and welcome to another edition of the Brown Bears Sports Report. I'm your host, Scott Cordisci. Glad you could join us. Our Brown Bears Sports Report is brought to you every week by United Healthcare. You put care into everything that you do. United Healthcare does too. United Healthcare, health plans that care for you and your family every step of the way. See what care can do at UHC.com. Well, joining us this week on the Brown Bears Sports Report gives me great pleasure to welcome the Brown men's crew team. Let's say hello to their head coach, Paul Cook. Paul, how are you?
I'm doing well, Scott. Great to see you.
Well, thank you for being with us. And you brought a bunch of people with you here tonight. Let's introduce your assistant coach, Graham Willoughby. Graham, how are you?
Doing great, Scott. Thanks for having us.
Well, Graham, thank you for being with us. And we have 4 seniors from this year's team. From Dover, Massachusetts, we have Henry Hollingsworth. Henry, how are you doing?
Hey, I'm doing well. Great to be here.
Well, Henry, thanks for being with us. A senior from London, England, Thomas Phelps is our guest. Thomas, how are you doing today?
I'm in great shape. Very happy to be here.
Thank you for being with us. We also have a senior from Danville, California, Brian Mendelius. Brian, how are you?
I'm doing great, Scott. Thanks.
Brian, thank you for being our guest today. And we also have a senior from Amsterdam in the Netherlands, Jaap de Jong. Jaap, how are you?
Wonderful, thanks.
Well, thank you for joining us. Coach, we'll bring it back to you. Brown class of 89 and your 19th year as head coach. It's been a year, right? Over a year, right? Since your team has competed. I'm trying to think when the last time your team was on the water. Was it like, I remember October of 2019, you guys had a very strong performance at the head of the Charles. What do you remember about your last competition?
The fall last year went well. We had a good performance at the head of the Charles and a good day at the foot of the Charles, which is a smaller race. But we won the 4 at the head of the Charles and we're third in the 8. And we came into the year with a lot of expectations and excitement. And this group of seniors, is one that's had success from the beginning. So it's been disappointing not to let them represent Brown more on the race course. So I'm happy to have them here today and giving them the chance to shine a bit. They've really had a great influence on our program and on the university at large. So, that last competition was a good one. And it's been 365 days, Scott, since we were last on the water. Our first day was yesterday, and we're looking forward to get going again.
That's awesome. Graham, we talked about, that winning the gold in the championship 4s at the head of the Charles and second in the championship 8s among collegiate boats. And then you guys were 6th at the IRA National Championship the previous spring in California. So as Coach Cook says, it seems like you guys are building something here.
Yeah, I just remember, towards the 365 days ago, before we came off the water, there was a real sense of momentum. We'd been working on some technical things that were really resonating with the team. And it felt really good. It felt like we were going to come into a season that was that was going to be really special, and we were going to be able to, play all our cards. And so, I hate to bring everybody down by talking like that, but yeah, it was rough, knowing that we weren't going to be able to see that out. But the good thing about it was that we had enough time training and on the water to know that what we were doing was working and making our team faster and stronger. And I think the guys here will agree with that. And so, knowing that now we can start back up again, sort of doing similar stuff, focusing on similar things and knowing that it'll continue to build us into this next season.
Coach Cook, let me go back to you for a second here. I talked last week to John Murphy, and he said to me that if restrictions get, lifted even further and you guys are allowed to compete against the local programs, he said he's got some teams that are willing to compete against them. Is that the case for you as well? Do you feel like if those restrictions are lifted and you guys are allowed to compete sometime later this spring, that you'll be able to get some races?
God, we've got a couple dates on the calendar, but they're in pencil, So we're ready. We do think we'll have the chance to compete. We hope so. But we're really looking right now just to raise the standard within our own boathouse and on the Seekonk here to one which is competitive at the Ivy level, national level, and then we'll take whatever we can get when it comes to outside competition.
Henry, it's been a crazy year for all of us with the pandemic. How much do you miss the competition, and how nice was it to get back out on the water?
I think it was really great to get back on the water yesterday. And I think like 99% of our time spent is training. So I think the competition that's within our squad, I think I get a lot out of and I really enjoy. So that was really great to sort of be getting back into that.
Thomas, what do you miss the most about the pre-pandemic norm, so to speak?
Getting on the water was definitely the biggest one for me. It's like rediscovering my love for the sport. It's basically what we've been doing for the last year, like asking you a cross-country runner to run on a treadmill for 365 days. And it's been very tough. It's been a long time since I got to do what I really like, which is go on the water. We haven't done any racing on the water yet, but we'll get there. Yeah, look, obviously missing having the whole team around. Not everyone's here right now, but getting back on the water is the first and most significant step, I think.
Yep, you row on the first Varsity 8. So, we talked about some of the success you guys had at the head of the Charles, among other places before everything was shut down. Do you feel like, this team could have done some really good things this past year if we didn't have seasons canceled due to the pandemic?
Yeah, I'm sure we were in really good shape, and we tend to perform very well at the head of the Charles. So it was a big bummer that we had to miss out on competing there, but also in the spring. But we worked really hard this last year, and yesterday it just felt so good to be back out there, and everybody has a rejuvenated new sense of let's do this, and we're going to compete really well this first opportunity we get, I think.
Brian, you earned bronze in the Club 8 at the head of the Charles. What do you remember about, your last time competing with the team?
It was a really special experience. It was me, another junior, and a senior, and then everyone else was a freshman. And it was really special because the year before I had been able to race in the JV, and I thought I was pretty fast. And then I found myself at the lower end of the squad, and I think some other guys would have been more upset about being on the lower end of the squad, but I thought it was pretty special because I think we really have some special younger guys on the team that are going to come up and push us to the next level this year and the year after.
Coach Cook, I would be remiss if I didn't ask you about the newly renovated boathouse. I know how proud you were when the boat ramp was renovated, and now the renovations to the boathouse have been completed as well. How great are things down there?
Yeah, and it took a lot of work this year, but it was perfect timing. The facility looks fantastic. We have some finishing touches to do in terms of getting pictures back up on the wall and putting the trophy cases back in place. So it still has sort of a brand new house look where the rooms are a little emptier than they're going to be. But it's been we have a new training room that's fantastic, and the guys have been able to train in a great way. So that's worked out super well.
Graham, I don't know how important that is in your sport in terms of recruiting, or is it? Do you really think that, the newly renovated boathouse will help you guys on the recruiting trail?
I absolutely believe that it will help us. Scott, when I came to Brown 9 years ago, one of the things that drew me to Brown was, well, there was many things that drew me. Coach Cook drew me, and then just the university had this really special sort of vibrance to it. The athletes and the students that were a part of it. The proximity of the boathouse to the university is a huge part of making rowing, this kind of sport, something that's accessible and easily sort of managed as a student athlete, maximized. The boathouse itself, the interior, I'm not going to lie, was a little bit tired. And that was the one thing I was like, this could use a little bit of work. This is going to help us when we finally get around to this renovation. I cannot be more pleased and happy and excited about how the boathouse turned out. It is the thing that has made us, and I speak with all honesty, one of the, if not the top elite training centers in the Ivy League for rowing. Just taking all those things into account, the waterway, the proximity to campus, the university itself, and then all the people and the staff and the resources that go hand in hand with that. So that this renovation, Scott, has really brought things together and really galvanized Brown Crew and Brown University as the top rowing program in the United States, I think.
That is great to hear. Henry, you attended the Brooks School, which is not far from where I actually grew up, but we have a lot of student athletes here at Brown that attended the Brooks School. And I'm wondering if you knew them or were friendly with them in high school, guys like T. Cho on the basketball team, Kelly Raymond, who plays for our field hockey team, among others. Like I said, we have a lot of Brooks School alumni here at Brown.
Yeah, I know both. I know both T and Kelly, and Tim Zhao also was a walk-on our team, and he went to Brooks, and I was good friends with him there. So it's really great to see all these guys from my high school coming here, and yeah, I hope more come.
So Henry, you're a senior. What's your concentration, and do you have plans for after graduation?
Yeah, I do mechanical engineering, and I'm planning to go somewhere into controls engineering after college.
And so does that mean obviously furthering your education, going to grad school somewhere?
Yeah, I think I'll probably go to grad school at some point, probably work somewhere for a couple of years and then go back to grad school. Yeah.
Gotcha. How about Thomas? Same question for you. What's your concentration and what's next for you after graduation?
So I am double concentrating in history and political science. My plan is I applied to Cambridge for an MPhil in management. So I'm waiting to hear back from them. Hopefully I get in. If I don't get into Cambridge, I really have no backup plan. So I'm looking for a job in London. I'm going to carry on rowing for my club, Thames Rowing Club. I feel like I need to just give it a few more years after having lost the last season. Well, like this season somewhat and last season completely. I need a little bit more closure on my rowing career. So rowing and hopefully graduate school, but potentially job search.
Thomas, I love to ask this question of all of our student athletes, particularly for those like you and Yap that are from overseas. How did you wind up here at Brown? Take us through the whole process and, how you were recruited or how you selected Brown, what made Brown University the right spot for you?
So for me, I don't know how Yap feels, but the level of like varsity athletics and the way it's treated as a whole is so different in the US and the UK, and that drew me. That the whole concept of like varsity athletics doesn't even exist really in the UK in the same way. So obviously I was looking at the US and I did a bunch of visits to schools, and Brown really stood out. And what made Brown stand out was Paul and his coaching and the way he led the team, and the guys on the team as well. So the guys I met made me feel really welcome, and I could really see myself at Brown. I remember on my visit, we were the team runs a hill on Tuesdays and Thursdays in the fall, and I remember Paul pulled me aside and was like, "Listen, if you want to come here, you need to really buy in. Like, we're not messing around. That you need to buy in and do what I say 100%." And no other coach on my visits at all even said like a word to me. Like they weren't. I don't know if they weren't taking me seriously or they didn't have the same approach to leadership, but Paul really had an impact on me in my visit, and he really drew me here.
That's great to hear. Yap, same question for you. You're from the Netherlands. How did you wind up here at Brown?
Well, it started in 2014, which is a long time ago already, in Hamburg, Germany. It's where the world champions were for juniors in rowing. And I competed and it went pretty well. And then after the finals, there's this boating area and everybody feels happy. And I ran into to Paul, was like, "Hi, I'm Paul Cook and I represent Brown University. And have you ever heard of that?" And I hadn't, but that's when the ball started to roll. And I got in touch with Coach Willoughby as well. And we got me to visit, and I just felt like home instantly. I had a really good click with the coaches, with the people on the team, and with the university as a whole. I really felt at home. So for me, it was not a hard decision.
Yep. What is your concentration and what are your plans for after graduation?
I concentrate in both architecture and urban studies, and I'm planning to go to grad school in the fall in Delft in the Netherlands for architecture. Yeah.
Okay. Brian, same question to you. What is your concentration? What's next for you after graduation?
I double concentrate in BEO and sociology. And then after graduation, so Henry Yop and I actually have a little side project going on where we're working to turn mushrooms into cups pretty much, and it's completely biodegradable. And I hope to kind of continue that in California afterwards.
Wow, that's really cool. Can you explain to us a little bit more about that? So actual mushrooms, you turn them into like drinking cups?
Yeah, correct. So Yop and Henry can elaborate as well, but it's pretty much you extract like the reproductive part of the mushroom, and it's called mycelium. You can spread it over any kind of substrate, and it'll grow over like 14 days if you feed it water and flour. And then you can heat it up in an oven or a kiln, and it'll harden. So then basically, like, we just take the substrate and we put it into a mold that's the shape of a cup. Then we heat it up, and then it becomes hard.
That's pretty cool. Coach, back to you for a second. I think if I read your roster correctly, you have 9 seniors that will be graduating. Of course, the Ivy League came out with this rule that for seniors this year, if they want to attend grad school at their undergraduate institution, that they would retain an extra year of athletic eligibility. I don't know, are any of your seniors even contemplating that, or as far as you know, or not?
I think probably not, Scott. We're not, I think some people are probably thinking things over and making some decisions. And, I would certainly welcome anyone who wanted to come back for another year. As you can see, I mean, one thing I wanted to say is that, the student athletes at Brown are really exceptional. And you can see it from watching these guys, these seniors here today. And yeah, I just want, my hats are off to them and to their entire class of student athletes who, I've been here for a long time. I was a student athlete myself, and I just wanted to say how much I enjoy being around them all these years. And I still get inspired by what they do. I mean, making cups out of mushrooms and trying to figure out what they're going to do, in the next few years. It's just it's been a real honor to be part of it.
I could not agree with you more. I tell this to people all the time, and I love doing stuff like this. The next time I meet a Brown student athlete that I don't like, it will be the first time. I mean, we have some impressive young men and women on this campus. Coach Willoughby, so I had a chance on our Brown Bears podcast to talk to Will Legenzowski, who was down at the Olympic trials in Sarasota. He took first place in the B final, or 5th overall in the single scull. I know Will pretty well. He is quite a character, that's for sure, but good for him. I guess he did pretty well down there. And I think this is something that he's taking seriously and would like to pursue in the future, try to qualify for the Olympic Games.
Yeah, absolutely. And we're really proud of Will. And, he's sort of, he's a young up and comer, and he doesn't always, give himself enough credit. And then he goes and does stuff like this. And we go, Will, like, you're so good. Like, keep going, man, do it. And so we've been really excited to see him and his pursuits during his time away from us. But let me tell you, it's great that he's doing what he's doing, but man, I can't wait to get him back.
I was just going to say, so I'm going to ask each of your seniors that are with us to describe Will Legenzowski to us in a few words, because he is definitely a character.
Be nice, guys.
He has to be the guy that keeps it light on the team. Henry, give me your thoughts of Will.
Yeah, I think Will's a great guy. He's definitely like a joker at times, but he definitely can be really serious on the water, a serious racer. So it's really great to have.
Thomas, how about you? When I say Will Legenzowski, what's the first word or two that pops into your head?
The first thing I think of when you say Will is us doing some seat racing, so selection in 4s, his freshman fall, and Will just shouting, "Let's get this bread," over and over again during the piece. Like, who is this kid? It's like his 3rd week on campus. Like, shut up! What are you doing? But yeah, I love Will. He brings great energy. He's actually not as funny as George Lawson. He'll tell you. Will says he's the funniest. George is funnier, but that's a debate that'll be ongoing, I think.
All right.
When we have them both on the team, it's pretty exciting.
That's great. Yep. How about you? Have you followed what Will did down at the Olympic trials?
Yeah, I did closely, and I'm very impressed. He did very well. I once had the opportunity to spend Thanksgiving at the Legenzowskis. He brought me over to his home, and I had an unforgettable experience. It was just so much fun. His entire family is really great, and I'm very fond of Will, and I would describe him in one word as just so much fun.
Brian, how about you?
Yeah, I would describe, like, if you're playing with a deck of cards, Will's an ace, and Will plays high and Will plays low. And like in practice, Will can be yelling and being like the most competitive person on the water. And then some mornings also Will forgot to turn in his homework and has to leave right from practice to turn in his homework. So, Will is on both ends of the game.
So being called an ace is better than being called a joker.
True.
So Paul, so what comes next? So you guys are back out on the water, which I know you're obviously all thrilled to be. Are you guys allowed to, work out together in boats? Is it kind of single sculls? What are you doing right now?
So we were just authorized to race and row in eights, or race in practice. So we are out in team boats, which is great news for us. That's really what that's what our sport here at Brown is designed to be, is much about teamwork. We do intend to row in singles and in smaller boats during practice at times in the weeks and months ahead, and to start to prepare for the races and for competition. But like Henry described, a lot of that can happen in-house. We have an exciting group of freshmen that came in, and those guys will get integrated into the team, and we'll add competitive energy, and we'll see who can really make something happen in the months ahead. And it's a short season, but there's a lot of energy, and I think there's a lot of people that will bring a fairly good sense of preparation and then improve a lot in the next couple of months. So we're mostly just happy to get started, Scott, but I do think there's the opportunity to have some real competitive and the kind of racing and practice and on against other teams that really is part of the experience at Brown. That's educational. It takes a lot of courage. It takes a lot of pushing yourself. You have to be a great teammate. And I look forward to these seniors and all the athletes on the team getting into that in full force.
All right, seniors, a couple of fun questions. Henry, we'll start with you. The open curriculum at Brown is a big selling point, I think, for all of our coaches. And I know how much our students love it. Give us an example of a class that you took outside of your concentration or concentrations that, you just thought it would be kind of cool to take, and you enjoyed it because you could take it under the open curriculum here at Brown.
Yeah, so one class that comes to mind is palaces. And this is a class where we got to go on field trips around Providence to different buildings. We went to like the State House and a bunch of old buildings. There's like a cathedral we went to, and we sort of studied the building and studied like old ancient palaces and their layouts. So I thought that was a memorable class. In engineering, like there's so many requirements, I don't get to do that many of those classes, but that was definitely a good one.
That sounds really, really cool. Thomas, how about Thayer Street? Is there a spot on Thayer Street that you're going to miss when you leave Brown University, a spot you used to like to hang out or grab some grub?
Actually, the team house my sophomore year was right on Thayer Street, and the house has now been demolished as part of Brown's new dorm, but that little side street and around there will always hold a place in my heart. So I guess it's right by like Baja's and that kind of stuff. So I guess kind of those places, but really the spot where the lane used to be. It's no longer there, but.
Okay. Yep. What are you going to miss the most about Brown when you graduate?
Being on College Hill, just this place is so amazing, especially now that the sun is out. It feels so alive. I can't wait for the trees to have leaves again and all this greenery, big gardens, nice people out on the green. Yeah, just that.
Brian, how about you?
I'm going to miss the team the most. Like, my college experience has really been defined by Brown Men's Crew, waking up at 6 a.m. to go run hills and then having another practice in the afternoon. And like this team, these guys are my best friends, and we're going to be tied together for life, but I'm going to miss living with all of them and seeing them every day.
Graham, as I mentioned earlier, I think a total of 9 seniors, 4 of which are with us on the show. We'll start with you, and then we'll end it with Paul. What would you like to say to the seniors that'll be graduating from your program?
I'd just like to say it's been an honor and a privilege, and I've enjoyed every moment of us working together. From that very first season when you guys came out, we could tell you were special. The group came and really came in on fire and didn't really slow down. And it was one real first groups we got together that, we've had every team that we have, every freshman class that we have is special and has something that they bring to the boathouse that's unique. And I'd say the level of skill and experience that this group brought was really exceptional. We had guys that were world champions and Henley winners and things like that. And so you really I personally felt a great deal of pressure to perform so that they could have the success that they were entitled to. So yeah, you will be missed.
Well said. Paul, final word to you on your seniors.
So Scott, yeah, I would actually challenge our seniors. I know that it's in a way a moment to recognize all the great things they've done, and that's certainly true, and we will do that at the end of the year. But right now, the challenge is really a big one, which is how do we we've been carrying this flag over the last year, and we haven't had boats on the water. And can we, revitalize, revigorate? I mean, we will do that for sure, just from the sheer energy, but can we bring that to a standard again that sets the standard for the future and does as well as we can right now? And I know, it would be in one sense a time to say, well, we don't know what's going to happen now. We're just going to look back on the glory of the last 3 years which have been really great for these guys. But I would say, can they finish the job and really, really do something in these last few months that makes them feel great about Brown, about, not just at the boathouse on the academic front as well, but to do something at Brown, to do something at the boathouse where they leave their mark and say, I finished the job. I did it really well. Because they've done a great job all along. And I think it's important to wrap it up and do it the right way.
Man, now I know what Thomas is talking about. Thomas, I'm all fired up, okay? So Coach has got me fired up. Thomas, Henry, Brian, Yop, go out there, get it done this spring for Coach. Go get it done, like he said. And congratulations on 4 great years here at Brown. And thank you for all that you've done for not just the men's crew program, but for Brown athletics and representing the university so well. Coach Cook, Coach Willoughby, Henry Hollingsworth, Thomas Phelps, Brian Mondelius, and Yop DeYoung, thanks so much for joining us on the Brown Bears Sports Report.
Thanks, Scott.
Thanks so much, Scott.
Thanks.
Thank you.
This has been a presentation of Learfield IMG College.